Good evening and welcome back to Tea Rosa Kitchen, where I'll be cooking today on behalf of Cafe de Chat Noir. We're going to be making pizzas today. The amount of dough that I've made can either make 6 big pizzas or 6 big pizzas or 8 smaller pizzas. It's great for the children can join in and make their own pizza. I tend to kind of roll out the dough, put the sauce on, and then get my friends to put whatever toppings they like on themselves. Then they can add as much or as little as they think they're going to eat. So let's get on with everything then. So for the pizza base, we're going to have 500 grams of strong flour. You could use plain flour if you don't have strong flour, but if you do, it's much better. I've got half a teaspoon of salt. I've got a good teaspoon of dried yeast, so it's about 7 grams, and I have a teaspoon of sugar and 330 milliliters of warm water. For the sauce, we have a good glug of olive oil, then we have chopped tomatoes, we have passata, a good half litre of water. I have some finely chopped onions, some chopped garlic, some tomato paste, some paprika, and for the herbs in this one we have half a teaspoon of basil, half a teaspoon of thyme, and half a teaspoon of parsley. You can add any kind of topping that you like onto your pizza, but for mine, for today, I'm doing them for 2 lovely customers. We're staying at the B&B, and I have grated mozzarella, I have some pepperoni, I have some sliced mushrooms, and some olives. I'm going to take the stones out of these olives because they're much nicer to eat. They're kind of choking on the stone. I have some mozzarella pearls, I have some chicken, and I have some sliced onion, and I'm also going to be putting some sliced mushrooms onto this one too. So here's all our ingredients. I prepped everything up. Everything is kind of ready to go, and we're going to get started. So we're going to start off with the pizza dough to start. We're going to start off with making the pizza dough. So to start with, I've got the hot water or the warm water. You don't want it too hot, otherwise it'll kill the yeast. You don't want it too cold or it won't activate. And into the water, we're going to add the sugar. This helps the yeast to activate. So give that a really good stir to get that blended into the water. The next thing then, we're going to add the yeast. Pour that in. Don't give it a huge stir, but a little gentle stir like this. Now we're going to set this aside and leave it for about 10-15 minutes in a warm place so that the yeast starts to activate before we start doing the dough. Well, we've been about 10 minutes now since we first put the yeast and the sugar into the warm water. If you look down here, you can see that the yeast has really started to foam up and started to activate. So this is great. This is kind of ready to start now with the making the dough. So into the flour, make a well in the center, okay? And into there, put a good glug of olive oil. At the very, very side of the flour, make sure you put it at the side, because otherwise the salt can kill the yeast. We're going to put the half a teaspoon of salt. So just put that at the very, very side and out of the way, okay? So it's just there. Into the middle, then, of the well, we're going to pour all the water and all the yeast. There we go. And we're going to get our hands in there. In a circular motion, stir the water and the yeast around and everything, and keep it going. And before long, it will all come together like a dough. It's quite moist in the middle at the moment, as you can see. So you just want to bring all that flour in there, start working it in, okay? And keep working that in until all of that is combined. Let me kind of get the bits of moist bits off my hands. Okay. And I'll continue working this until I've got it all in, and as soon as I've done that, I'll bring it back to you and I'll start showing you how to knead the dough to get it kind of the gluten's activating and become stretchy to make the pizza that we're going to be making. All put together now, kind of mixed all together. That took me about just 3 or 4 minutes. It didn't take me very long, but now we're going to just start kneading the dough. So to knead the dough, we're going to put a little bit of olive oil onto our work surface. Okay, smooth that up with all your hand. This is where we're going to be doing the kneading. And then we're going to put the dough onto there and we're going to start working it. So as we do it, you kind of pull in the dough and push them with your hand. So you put your hand like here, to hold it this side and then pull with the ball of your hand on that side. So like this. Okay. And that will get all the glutens going. You want to continue doing this for about 15 minutes. So to stand up and watch me kneading this dough for 15 minutes is a bit ridiculous. So I'm going to keep kneading it, and I shall come back to you when it's just almost ready to go back and to be proved. Minutes of working this dough, and as you can see, it becomes more elastic. If when you're kind of pushing it out, it starts sticking to the worktop, just add a little bit more olive oil and continue just working the dough into it. So there it is. So now we're going to kind of put this back into its bowl, okay, which is just here, just the same bowl. And this is a little tip. If you're staying at a guest house anywhere or at a hotel and they do these shower caps, steal them. I steal all of them that I can get hold of, and I keep hold of them for whenever I'm making bread or dough. And the shower cap, when you take it out and open it up, rather than covering it with cling film, which you have to keep throwing away, you can pop the shower cap over and leave it there, and it's ready to actually start proving. I'm going to leave this to prove now for about 45 minutes in a warm area, and I shall come back to you. But in the meantime, while this is doing, we'll start on our sauce. The bread is proving. We're going to start on our sauce. So the sauce we've got today is a tomato concasse. I add some more things in it to make it more tasty. So start off with a good glug of olive oil. And into there, we're going to put the chopped onions. We're going to get them on a medium heat, if I can turn the thing on. Here we go. And we're going to fry these for about 3 or 4 minutes until they're all kind of cooked down. So I'll come back to you when the onions are ready. The onions have been frying now for about 5 minutes, and they're becoming soft like this, and this is kind of how we want them. Into this next, we're going to add the garlic. But again, as I always say, don't put the garlic in too early, because otherwise it burns and becomes bitter. So in goes the garlic. At the same time, I'm also going to put in the half a teaspoon of paprika. This just gives it a little bit of a spice to the sauce. You don't have to have it if you don't want to, or if you want, you can use like chili flakes and have it as a much hotter sauce. It's up to you on the kind of heat that you want to come off your spices. So just let them fry off a little bit, not too much. Okay. And then into there as well, we're going to put the tin of tomatoes, chopped tomatoes. We're going to put in the passata. Sorry, I was grabbing a spoon to get the rest of that in. Don't want to waste any of this, it's really nice. I'm also going to put in at this point the 2 teaspoons of tomato paste. So we want this really, really tomatoey. I'm also popping in the parsley, thyme and basil. And next I'm going to put in the 500 millilitres, so half a litre of water. We want to cook this on a low temperature. It's for about 45 minutes. So it's going to be a really long time as it's cooking, but you want to keep stirring it and checking on it and making sure that it's okay until it cooks right the way down into a really nice thick sauce, which we're going to use to go onto the pizza. So while this is happening, I'll continue making the pizza dough and showing you about the proving and everything else that we're going to be doing. The sauce has been cooking now for about 15 minutes, as you can see. It has started to reduce, but not reduced enough. But the tomatoes are still kind of got the lumps in there. So what we're doing is cooking the sauce long enough so it gets rid of the liquid, and all these bits of tomato will kind of just disappear into the sauce, making it a really nice thick and rich sauce. While this is continuing, I'm going to go back to the dough, and I'll show you the next section of the dough where we'll be knocking back the dough and getting ready for the second proof. I've got the dough, which is still covered up from where I've been keeping it in a warm area. As you can see, the dough has really risen. So what we're going to do is just remove this, and then we're going to slowly knock all the air out of there, because we want to do this on the second proof. This is really simple. That is literally all you do. Pop it back in, cover it back up, and that's ready. We're going to leave that for another half an hour again in the warm area. At this point, I'd like to kind of do a couple of shout outs to a couple of people. First of all, I'd like to thank a very good friend of ours, Jeannie Mavanry Gentry, who gave me this beautiful kind of ceramic tile, which is the same picture as the cafe logo at Café de Chat Noir. And my second one is to my Auntie Alma, who told me when I told her I was making pizzas today for our tutorial that she doesn't like pizza. But I told her that's not a problem. She's got 3 beautiful granddaughters called Starla, Sammy and Sienna, and she can make pizzas for them. So when this lockdown's over, Sammy, Sienna and Starla, you get Grandma Alma to make you pizzas because now she knows how. Next thing I can do is prepare the pizza trays. So I've got some 12-inch pizza trays here. You can just use whatever baking trays you have. But a good way to stop them from the pizzas from sticking to the trays, we're going to start off with a little bit of olive oil. And we're going to brush all of the tray with the olive oil. Like this, okay. We're going to do this to both the trays. And then we're going to use some of the flour, a little bit of flour we've got left over, and we're going to sprinkle this all over the tray. Okay. And then I'll set this aside, ready for when the dough's ready to go on there for us to make the pizzas. The sauce has been cooking now for about 45 minutes, and as you can see, it's reduced. All the liquid is kind of going away from there, and it's pretty much ready. It is. So it's kind of, the lumps are all kind of going, and it's like a nice thick sauce. So I'm going to turn this off and put it aside in a bowl to cool down slightly, so I'm ready to actually put it onto the pizza. So I've rolled out the dough. I do it quite thin because I personally like a thin crust paste, a thin crust on my pizza. But if you want to do thicker, then you can use a little bit more dough and make them thicker. Or if you're making them for children, obviously you can make them much smaller and thick or thin, or however they actually prefer it. So we're just going to pick up the pizza, pop it onto the tray, and while I'm doing the next one, I'll just leave that one to the side. Paste the dough, and we're ready to kind of do it now. So as you can see, this sauce is nice and thick and ready to go on. Don't put on too much, because with pizza, there's something I forgot. Before you do the sauce, use a little bit of olive oil and just rub it around the edge of the dough. That way, when you actually cook the pizza, you'll have a nice crust on on the bread. So okay, back to the sauce. We've got the sauce. So you don't want to put too much in it, because like with this kind of sauce, it's like less is more, but it's nice and thick and it's got loads of flavour. So you don't need tons of the sauce. There we go. I'm just gonna wipe that all over. Okay, and then I'm gonna start adding the ingredients onto there. There you go. That's nice. There's plenty of sauce in there. Okay. So I kind of like to make them kind of like the same all over, but you can do whatever you like. If you want to do like a quattro formaggio and do it in quarters, or you could do quattro stagioni, again do it in quarters, or you can just mix it all up depending on how you like it. There you go. So there's plenty of things. What have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, 8. So I did say I was going to put 10 on here, but 8 is enough, I think. Okay, then we're going to pop on some of the olives. So put one in between each of the thing. As you can see, I've taken the stone out of there, so when you eat it, you don't choke on the olive. Put 5 around there. Oh, 8, sorry, around there. And then we put another couple around the inside. There you go. There's plenty on there. And then again, a few mushrooms. Again, you don't want to put loads on there, but you can put on as much as you like. I tend not to put too many things into the very centre of the pizza, because when you cut it up, that bit's really, really thin, and you don't want that to be kind of collapsing on you and soggy. And the last thing then we're going to pop on there is some cheese. Again, you don't want too much cheese, and this is just grated mozzarella. And again, I don't put too much on, you just kind of want enough to kind of be nice. There you go, and that pizza is ready to go into the oven. I'll just do the other one up, and before it goes in the oven, I'll show you them, and then I'll show you them when they're both cooked. I've completed topping my 2 pizzas. So as I say, we've got this one's the pepperoni with mushrooms and olives, and the other one, which is the chicken, the mushrooms, red onions, and mozzarella balls. So these are going to take 7 minutes to 10 minutes in an oven. I've set the oven on as high as I possibly can get it, so it's completely on full. Keep an eye on them, because obviously you don't want the bread to burn, and you might, because I've got 2, you might need to kind of switch them around halfway through. But I'll see you in 7 to 10 minutes. Ehi, ciao, bella, bravissimo, buongiorno to Grange Town's very own opera house. For you, I shall sing a song. Just one cornetto, give it to me. Delicious ice cream from Italy. These are the pizzas. They've all cooked, as you can see. It's a nice thin crust. It's not too thick. It's nice and brown around the edges, and everything's ready to be eaten. I'm going to serve it with a pizza wheel so that people can cut them up. I've got plenty of my sauce left, which I can use for the rest of the pizzas. And if there's any left over at the end, you can always freeze it and then take it out when you're ready to do another pizza in the future. Or it's absolutely beautiful, just with some boiled pasta, toss it into all this sauce, and that's really lovely as well. So, buon appetito!